Welcome to another episode of Stories from the Women's Motorsports Network. I'll be sharing stories I've published in my online magazine, the Women's Motorsports Network News. I hope you enjoy hearing me read these stories about women in motorsports. So sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and enjoy this story about Abby Jolly Reimer. Abby Jolly, now Mrs. Reimer, recently married to her husband Zach, grew up going to the Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina with her dad. When Carteret County Speedway opened up, she realized there were no females racing there at the time, which gave her the idea to be the first one. She was inspired by her local favorite late model drivers, Chris Burns and Brandon Clements. She runs in the UCAR series and is moving up to the mini stock class in 2024. She drives a blue Toyota Celica, number 11. Her dad is her full-time spotter, and her crew consists of her husband, Zach, and the guys at Waller Tire Service. Her home track is Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway. Someday, she hopes to race at the Freedom Factory in Florida. She is a first-generation racer, and her little brother, Dustin, has followed after her. Abby had a difficult season this year and shared a bit about it with me. This entire 2023 season, I've been fighting with weight loss and fatigue that has prevented me from running a full season schedule like I had wanted, she shared. It's been a challenge to go from being healthy and happy to the opposite. So I took a step back this season and ran only when I felt up to it, which ultimately lost me the 2023 season championship at New River All-American Speedway. So finding the drive to work on my car again and put in the work it takes to win was a challenge. It made me appreciate the things about racing that I had taken for granted. Abby deals with a bad day at the track by remembering to stay true to herself and that at the end of the day, this isn't NASCAR, it's local short track racing, and if every weekend there is drama, then it hurts the sport. Things happen, and it's okay to be passionate. But I have in recent years realized that there is always a price for each decision you make, she said. Abby's favorite part of being involved in motorsports is the influence she has within her community and the impact she is making on young girls following in her footsteps. I went from being one of 3 females racing at my local tracks to now there are 7 or more every weekend across the divisions. I have had a few give me credit for being their inspiration for getting started. This gives me the motivation to do even better so they can see what success, as well as being a female in a male-dominated sport, looks like. Abby won her first race in 2023 and received the Most Improved Driver Award for the 2019 season. Her goal for her racing career is to compete full-time with the Carolina Mini Stock Series. I want to race with the best of the best, like Shane Canopy, Travis Miller, AJ Sanders, and my own husband, Zach Reimer. As Abby mentioned above, 2023 was a rough season, but she did get her first win. Her focus during this offseason is to swap the rear end of the Celica out so they won't have the same issues they had last year. But I'm really looking forward to debuting my mini stock that my husband and I built in 2022. I'm going to spend every weekend I can practicing in that to be ready for the 2024 season. Abby feels that this is a good sport for females to be involved in because it brings diversity and attention to the sport. We make people want to watch who maybe would not have before. We females are marketing tools and bring value and individuality to the racing community. One of the women I race against is Summer Sullivan, whose dad, Steve, was a major influence on me in the beginning of my career. He helped me so much those first few years. She's an exceptional young lady, and I genuinely love her and can't wait to see how her career evolves. I try to set a good example at the track, but if I sometimes don't, I just hope that they learn from my mistakes. Abby hopes to continue to inspire young ladies to get into short track racing. But the biggest thing I would like to do is become a successful mini stock driver. In the past few years, there have been no females that were successful in the mini stock division, at least at my local tracks or tracks I've visited further down south. So I would like to be the first female to really break down that barrier in that division. I asked her how racing had changed since she got involved. I think we see a decline in car count due to the drama every weekend, she shared. It's sad, quite honestly, but nobody ever tells it how it is and instead talks about how great it is. Reality is, we're seeing a lack of integrity and accountability, and most of the time it's coming from the parents of the drivers. We are supposed to be uplifting and encouraging, not dragging each other down, which as a result kills the car counts and makes people selling out of racing. These kids and young adults need guidance and a way to channel their passion for racing that doesn't hurt them in the long run, and a way to keep them in the local short track scene longer than just a few years. It's all about finding a balance. I also think tracks are enabling this to happen by not putting any effort into tech. Lack of tech creates a lot of issues and probably has your largest effect on car count. People won't show up if they know that they can only compete if they are cheating. So I think for local short track racing to be successful, you'd need to make sure that your track has the basics down, and tech is very important. Abby attended the Fayetteville Technical Community College, where she played softball and was named Defensive Player of the Year her sophomore year. She works at Marine Federal Credit Union and plans to stay in the banking industry. Her co-workers love that she races, and her teller station is decorated with one of her trophies. When she is not working or racing, she enjoys reading and spending time with her husband and dog, Ladybug, whom she adopted in 2018. She has been by my side ever since. Thank you, Abby, for sharing your story with the Women's Motorsports Network.